Hello, welcome back to Snark and Spark. My name is Emily and today I have a cross stitch update video. I am 2 months behind and hopefully this won't take forever, but I do expect this to be a long video. So pause me, get a snack, get a drink of your choice, grab your cross stitch, stitch along as I fill you in, and let's just hang out. Let's chat. It's been a little bit. So let's dive in, okay? Okay, so obviously, because I didn't show you at the end of September, everything I showed you is from September through the month of October. Except for a couple things that I think I only touched on in the month of October or September, and I'll let you know. So let's get started. You know I'm a nerd. I've got my planner here. Oh, I'm blonde. So many things. I will touch on all the personal things. I just clicked my mouse. We're good. I will touch on all of the personal things going on in my life at the end. So if you're interested in that, that will be at the end. We're going to focus on the cross stitch nitty gritty first. So, my handy dandy planner, my plum, my plum paper planner. Love it. Still love it. This is amazing. So, September was busy. So just to recap, I had set a goal for myself at the beginning of September for a total of 1,200 stitches for the 4 whips I had picked to work on the categories that my friends and I had chosen for each other, which roughly is 300 stitches per category. And the whip go numbers that got drawn were 3 and 22 for September, which were, both of those were to do 2 blocks on A Storybook Halloween, so a total of 4 blocks on that one. Did I ever finish that? I have it written down that I did one, but did I do the other? Let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So technically I did finish those numbers, which is really exciting. It took me through October to do. Oop, put that needle there. Okay. I don't have my pen or I would write that in there. So there's that. I played the game Whip Whammy in Semi-Sane Stitchers, and my focus piece for Semi-Sane and of course for the month was my Letters from Hogwarts piece. So, what did I do during that month? There's a hair hanging on my face. So, just to recap what those categories were. Part of a series, haven't stitched on in 2022, medium, Stitcher's Choice, and large. So, part of a series, I did my owl ornament, the blue one, because it's part of a series of owl ornaments. I did not have a piece for Haven't Stitched On 2022 because all of my whips were currently active, so I didn't have anything that fit that. Medium, I did Storybook Halloween. For Stitcher's Choice, I did Cabinet of Curiosities, which was that new Sal. That was the new Sal from Stitch On Me. It was the Halloween Stitch On Me Sal for this year. And then large was, of course, Letters from Hogwarts. Let's take a look at everything I worked on in September. So this ended up being my dashboard for the month of September. And then this is my calendar. Boop, boop. I liked what I did here, and I really didn't do that on October's. Gosh, what is going on with me? Okay. So, let's flip through the month. And I said I would show you. I want to show a full week of what a full week of stitching looks like. September is a bad one because okay, but here's my landing. This is my last dashboard of the month. Now, I've mentioned this before that I decorate my planners. I use stickers. That is for me. I had a comment, and I can't remember who it's from, and this is not a dig towards you at all, because I hope you watch this. This is not a dig towards you. But you had said something along the lines of, like, not understanding the use of stickers in your planner kind of thing. And I totally get that. Because for some people, a planner is completely functional, right? It's just there to write down things and make plans. For others, it's also decorative. You know, some people memory keep planners where all it purely is just beautiful. There's lots of stickers and flowing handwriting, and it's just memories. They just jot down it's like they recall things from the past and they make it pretty, right? It's like a big scrapbook. And there's kind of like me, where it's like functional and pretty, where I'm not creative or talented enough to really make my handwriting look beautiful, but I love stickers. And I have collected and hoarded stickers since I was a child, right? There's definitely that fear of like, what if I put my sticker here, but then I find a better place to put it kind of thing. And it isn't now until I'm an adult, a almost 30-year-old adult, that I finally am comfortable using my stickers. And so I have really just embraced using stickers in all of my planners across the board, between my personal planners, my reading planner, and my stitchy planner. Because I just like it. And ultimately, to answer your question, I do it because I like it. I like how it looks. I like to color code things. I like ultimately how it looks. So like, this is my wrap up page where I literally just write down what whips I touched on and the stats associated that I've done with those, my totals, and then I had extra blank space, and so I just put fall stickers and leaves and stuff. I really like it. I decorated for August too, because school started, so I did like all these back to school like stickers. But I just like it. So, September. I will admit, I have not done all of the math yet for October, but I don't mind to do that with you. I'd started it, and then I had to make dinner and distracted, but I want to make this video tonight because it is November 1st. I want to get it going. So, in September, I worked on a total of 4 whips. I stitched a total of 21 out of the 30 days of September. I had 1 new start, and I joined a new game/group. So, I have to make sure I write that. Sorry, I just noticed something else I did, and I was like, I didn't remember doing that. I'll have to do that for October. I joined a new game group. I joined Hell's Stitchin'. It's a lot of fun. You get put on a team of 4, and you essentially stitch to stock ingredients in your kitchen, in your restaurant, and then we have different games we play, and some of those games are like orders come in, and we have to stitch to make food and get the orders out to customers. I'm having a lot of fun. It's really enjoyable, and it kind of works out on the team I'm on currently. Shout out to Lucy. I don't even know if you watch me at all, but you're on my team. You're awesome. I love being on a team with someone that I know and that I've played games with in the past. So that's really fun. But 2 of us on our team, Heather and Wendy, they're like morning stitchers. And then like Lucy and I tend to be evening stitchers. And so there's this nice balance of, we've got like 2 in the morning and 2 at night. So yeah, and even though I'm not the fastest stitcher, I still get to contribute and I still get to play and have fun because the stitch counts are typically really low, of like 100 stitches per, like, you take a picture every 100 stitches kind of thing. I think the most I've seen so far has been 300 stitches per thing. And it's been a lot of fun so far. So I've only been in a couple weeks. The whole month of October now, but I started in September and I've gone into October and I'm still really, really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It was kind of what I was looking for. I had mentioned I dropped out of some groups and then I turned around and joined like another one, right? Because I figured out that I was hitting kind of a wall with groups that were prompt heavy. So I left the Daily 30 group at the beginning of September, end of August, somewhere in there, because it was very prompt heavy and I was starting to really struggle. I wasn't enjoying it as much anymore. I don't have that many whips. You know, I have a total of, I have less than, how many whips do I have? Because I've finished things. I want to say I have maybe 8 whips currently. So like I don't have a lot compared to some people who have like 50 plus. I don't have that. And so there were definitely times where I couldn't do a prompt because I didn't have a whip that fit. And usually there'd be some sort of like penalty stitches of add stitch on a whip of your choice and add an extra 100 or whatever. But that started to feel very limiting, and I just didn't like how it made me feel of like, well, I don't have a whip that fits this prompt and I have to do penalty stitches. And there's just something negative about saying penalty, right? So it wasn't fun that I had to do that. Gosh, I got all the itches now that I'm on camera, right? Versus in this new group, it's not prompt based. It's just a stitch count. And so I can choose whatever whip I want as long as I get a certain number of stitches, versus being told I need to find a whip that has this X, Y, or Z and do a number of stitches or pay the price. And so I really, really like that, because whatever whip I'm choosing to work on each week, I can then just use it. I'm not struggling to make up a reason for why I should be able to stitch on this whip. And I really, really like that. Because I think that was a part of why I kind of had my stitchy bug died down, was because I just felt so limited and stuck, and I was beating myself up for not like having projects that fit these prompts, right? And it shouldn't be like that. So let's go over what I did accomplish. On Letters from Hogwarts, I started at 19,000 stitches and got to 21,300 over the course of 20 days. So that was a total of 2,300 stitches, which averaged to about 115 stitches per day on that whip. Okay. On my owl ornament, I did a total of 400 stitches over the course of 3 days, which is about 133 stitches per day. I started Cabinet of Curiosities and put in 1,200 stitches in across 6 days, which was an average of 200 stitches per day. And then lastly, I worked on Storybook Halloween and did a total of 700 stitches over 3 days, which is about 233 stitches per day. So that's really cool. And so I did a total of 4,600 stitches for the month of September. That's awesome. I feel so good about that number. And that breaks down to an average of 219 stitches per day. So obviously, if you add up all of those numbers, right, 20 days, 3 days, 6 days, 3 days, that's more than 30 days, because certain days I stitched on more than one project a day. I was doing like 30 minutes a day on Letters from Hogwarts, and then I would put it aside, and then I would stitch on I would then pick a different whip. I kind of switched things up in October and through the course of October, and I will show you that. So I didn't show you any of my projects yet because I worked on all 4 of those in the month of October. So I'm going to show you them as I talk about them now. Now let's go to October. This was my landing page, my dashboard for October. It's a little bit missing over here. I'm okay with that. I kind of started my weeks a little bit on that right page, so it kind of threw me off. And again, that's fine. This time I set a goal of 1,500 stitches on the 5 whips for the categories my friend chose. So it was still, again, 300 stitches per whip. The categories for October were seasonal, small, medium, new to you, and holiday. So I am looking at my notes. Sometimes I'm like, why did I write that? And then it comes to me, right? For seasonal, I did I switch things? Because now I'm confused about my arrows. I did. Okay. So originally, seasonal and holiday, right? What's the difference there? Originally, I had Storybook Halloween for seasonal, and I had Holiday Truck Ornaments, my Santa, for holiday. I ended up flipping those. So holiday it has to very obviously be a holiday whip that you're working on. Versus seasonal, you can have seasonal whips. You can have a summer themed whip, spring, fall, winter themed whips, right? And sometimes a seasonal whip will also contain a holiday. Not interchangeable, but you can have a holiday whip that's also a seasonal whip. It took me a little bit of mind gymnastics. And so why did I switch those? Because the holiday trucks I felt were seasonal because it was very much winter versus Christmas. Because I will show you that. I have to remember where it is. It's on the floor in the other room. It's very much, it is a Christmas tree truck being delivered. A truck delivering a Christmas tree, right? But it's not like decorated. It's just a truck. But it's got snow. It is very obviously a winter piece, not necessarily a Christmas piece. Versus a Storybook Halloween is meant to be a Halloween piece, which is the holiday. So I flip-flopped those. For small, I did my owl ornament. For medium, I did Cabinet of Curiosities. And for new to you, I chose Letters from Hogwarts because the new to me thing on that was doing fractional stitches on Ada. I had never actually done that before. I've done fractional stitches on like linen or even weave, but I had never done fractional stitches on Ada, which is kind of a pain because you got to separate those strands when you're trying to go in the middle, right? My WIPGO numbers were 1 and 6. 1 was to do 1,000 stitches on the Santa's truck, which I have not completed yet, and 6 was to do a Letters from Hogwarts section, which I have done. So, exciting. I played the game Trick or Treat in Semi-Sane, where we collected candy, we visited different doors, and you did stitches to collect candy, and my focus piece was, again, Letters from Hogwarts. So, this was, see what I mean? Like, I started to kind of fill it out for the month, and then I, like, left it. But this was the spread, the calendar. And then, okay, I want to show, like, a week. This is a good week. This is a good week. They're both good weeks. This is how it looks when I fill it out for the week, okay? So I keep track of things. So I have color-coded, like, dots, squares. The colors each show me what group to look for it in. So for this, gold was Hell Stitchin'. Red, it's like my friends categories. This purple was for the Semi-Sane Trick or Treat. And then this like pinky orange color was for Magical Stitches. You can see I didn't stitch this day, and I wrote why I didn't stitch, so I wouldn't, when I looked back at the end of the month and I didn't have anything, I was like, why didn't I? Because I was spending time with my husband, and I got to put a little smiley face there. I spent time with my husband. Other things, let's see. So this, where it says due, it was just a reminder that I needed to take a picture when I hit the 22,300 stitch mark for Letters from Hogwarts for the Semi-Sane focus piece, because I had to post a picture every 1,000 stitches. And then like I have a good example here of this is a $sign because I placed an order from 123 Stitch because I needed floss. And I realized like after I did it that I should have just asked Sammy to do it for me. And then she could have, and then I could have supported like 2 birds, 1 stone, right? I could have gotten my floss and supported Sammy. So I'm really sorry about that. It crossed my mind like literally after I clicked like pay and went, oh, I could have just messaged Sammy and asked if she could have gotten this for me. Dang it. So my bad. But, and then there's this box on here, which is just how I keep track of everything I needed to do. So I have a checklist of like all the different tasks for the week. this was my daily like 30 focus, and then like another like task list, like a checklist bar for how many days I worked on it, and then like different notes and thing for like my different groups of like events that are happening in my groups that I wanted to keep track of. Okay. So what the heck is with all these extra stickers, right? So I write down what the prompt is, or like what I'm searching on, so I know what post I'm looking at. For example, this was I was trying to go to a corn maze. It needed 200 stitches. I write the start count for the project I'm working on, and then what the end count will be, so that I know, just at a glance, what it is for this group. Right? Same here. Okay, this was the start count, this was the ending count. I only needed 125 stitches. I was working on door number 5 in my trick-or-treat group. This makes sense to me. Don't worry if it doesn't make sense for you. When I hit that goal, when it's complete, so that I know that I've done it, I don't cross it out, I don't do anything like that. I just grab a fun, bright, like decorative sticker, and I slap it at the end next to it. Because what I typically do when I stitch, I will have my planner like near me. Part of my ADHD, I really struggle, and I've mentioned this before, like out of sight, out of mind with me. If it's not there, if I don't write it down, I don't really recall it. Like, it's got to be there for me. So I write everything down. It's how I keep track. I save it. I have everything saved to my phone so I can get to it easily, but I have to write it down or I will forget. And I do forget, even when I'm stitching. I can generally remember like, oh, I only need 200 stitches, but remembering, where did I start? Like, what number was I at when I started? Kind of thing. I don't keep track of that. And then also when you're in multiple groups, where's an example? When I'm doing multiple, like this is the same group, but that's a completely different group, but I'm using the same whip for both of these groups, I need to know, right? Did I post a start photo? Did I post an end photo? Did I do it done? So when I finish the stitches and I've posted for it, I slap a sticker on. That way when I'm looking at my planner to see what's next or what I need to do, if I see that big sticker, I'm like, oh, I finished that task, on to the next one. And it's just a big visual reminder for me. That's really all it is. It's just a way for me to look at it and go, got it, and move on. So, it's some busy nights in October, which is really nice. Like, that makes me feel really good. Okay, so this one I haven't decorated this yet. This is bare bones. I literally just wrote this all out like a couple hours ago. But I worked on a total of 6 whips in the month of October. That's a lot for me. I touched on 6 whips because essentially I kind of adopted a different method near the end of the month. The last 2 weeks, so about halfway through the month, I adopted like a different strategy because I wanted to try something new, and it's working really, really well. I was getting a little burnt out with Letters from Hogwarts, right? I was struggling with that. So then I switched it to doing, okay, instead of doing the 30 minutes and being left with these weird like stitch counts kind of thing, and like if I start a task with Letters from Hogwarts, you know, I'm not going to finish it in one night because when the 30 minutes was up, if I didn't hit the stitch count for it, it would roll over. So I definitely moved over into doing 100 stitches on it every single day. And that was great. And then I was like, I've got a couple whips that haven't gotten to 1,000 stitches yet. Because my big overall goal for the year is to put 1,000 stitches on all of my whips. Ideally finish them, but if not, put 1,000 stitches on them. So I'm like, I still have whips that I haven't put 1,000 stitches on, and I don't have that many whips. So I kind of like, I need to do that, right? And of course the whips that I have left are either newish or like I struggle with them. Maybe they're boring, or there's a lot of color changes in a really small area. Looking at you, holiday truck ornaments, stuff like that, or a lot of back stitching, owl ornament, and you know, things where I was like, and the thought of like sitting down and like bulk stitching it was not appealing to me. And so again, Sammy You just come up with the best ideas. I'm just copying Sammy at this point, okay? I 100% took her idea and I ran with it of finding a project that hadn't hit its 1,000 stitches and doing 100 on it every single day until it hits its 1,000 stitches and then putting it away and moving on. And that for the last like 2 weeks has been incredibly effective for me. Like, because then I don't feel overwhelmed working on these WIPs. I've gotten progress done on them and it feels good. So let's jump into that. Letters from Hogwarts. I did a total of 2,400 stitches over the course of 24 days, which is essentially 100 stitches every day. That's really funny. So I have completely moved. I'm in a completely different section. Let me pop this off and show you. So I finished the like Patronus section for the most part. The only part is I didn't have a color to finish the fireplace, which I have now, so I do need to put those stitches in, and I will now that I've got the Q-snap off. But this section is done. It's really fun. The cat looks amazing. Obviously, I talked about it too. When you're close up doing it, it just kind of looks like shit. But now that I finished it and it's all completed, I think you can tell it's a cat. It looks great. The back stitching is really, really nice on it. I'm really, really pleased with how this turned out. I just need to go in and do this like 2 little rows to show like the logs in the fireplace. So now I've moved on to this section. We are visiting Honeydukes. I've got some money here. And then I need to finish filling in the really light pink of the Honeyduke sign and then put candy in. And that's the goal. I'm trying not to rush, but my husband is also going to be home like any minute and he's going to walk in the front door and he's going to be like, he's going to come home while I'm doing this no matter what. Like, it's unavoidable. All right. Next I worked on Storybook Halloween. Let's do that math while we're sitting here. Let's see. Divided by... Yeah. Okay, so I did a total of 500 stitches on a Storybook Halloween over the course of 4 days, which is 125 stitches per day. And this is how it's looking. So we finished... I'm trying to remember where it was. It was like Frankenstein is now done. I think that was where he was. Frankenstein is now done. Oh, it went this way. So Cousin It, The Woman in Black, It from Stephen King. Then we have Frankenstein and Frankenstein's Monster. This is Hansel and Gretel. And then I think this is a poison apple, but it's the project like number for this is called like Goblin Market, but it's a poison apple. So that's where this is. Then I've got things everywhere. Cabinet of Curiosities. Where is Cabinet of Curiosities? Uh-oh. Where did you go, Cabinet of Curiosities? Oh, here it is. It's in a bag. It's on my new roll of frame bars. I really love it. My husband helped me load it because I was struggling, and he was a doll and helped me do it. So Cabinet of Curiosities, I did a total of 475 stitches over the course of 2 days. That's all. Divided by 2. That was 237 and a half stitches per day. And, oh gosh, here we are. So you haven't seen this at all. So I started this in September, right? Started it at 0, blank canvas. That's the top. It's just kind of... And this is where we are. So I'm still working on the frame, but I really wanted to start this because the things got called for it. We've got the Eye of Newt. We have a jar of Eye of Newt, and then this is a crystal ball. Yeah. Why do my colors look like that? It looks like there's like green. There's not, I promise. Whatever. But with this one, because I still haven't finished the frame, but I'm wanting to do those motifs, what I've been doing is working on like a strand of color in the motifs, and then I do a whole strand of black, and then I go do a strand of color, go do a strand of black, which also again is a Sammy a Sammy technique. I literally just, I feel like I'm copying her. I really do. You can't. This is, the motif for this one is a mandrake. So that's exciting. This is also really fun to work with. This is the first stitch along that Stitchonomy that she has released that has backstitch. So that's been really fun to work on. And I think just like I did with Storybook Halloween, I'm going to pull out some variegated thread I have and just add some details on the variegated thread. So I'm excited for that. Owl ornament. This one is exciting because I finished it. So this is my finish for the month of October. I did 601 stitches over the course of 4 days. So what's that math? 1 divided by 4 equals 150.25 stitches per day. I should take it out of the little hoop that I have it in. But this is it, look at it! And yes, this is Billy Butcherson from Hocus Pocus. I finished it. I finished it while my son was in a pickleball lesson. So, this was a good travel project since it is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors. The backstitching around the beak and the like claws was a brown. It's just difficult to tell. So yeah, this is my blue owl. He is done. He still needs to be fully finished into an ornament, but he's done. Ta-da! This little tension hoop this was great to put him in because it was hurting my hand to hold him, and having it in like a hoop was really, really nice. So I don't know which owl I'm going to do next, if I want to start one. I'm honestly kind of debating if I even want to start the next owl. I'm kind of over them. Which is such a shame to say, but like, I kind of am. Kind of over them. I did one. I don't really feel the need to do more. And that's part of like, you know, the stitching for me next year. Is I plan to stitch these as like gifts. And just doing that one, it was just more complicated and tedious, and the backstitching is a lot, and there's a lot of backstitching on all of them, and I'm just kind of like, it's not even for me. Meh. So I am undecided if I would like to go into next year with these. I might be, I don't want to call it an UFO, but it kind of is. But like, I just might not be doing any more owls, and I'm okay with that. I might be passing that stash along. I will let you know for sure. Next is holiday truck ornaments, which I also started in the month of October. I did 500 stitches over the course of 5 days, which is 100 stitches per day, which is exactly what I did, minus a couple stitches at the beginning of the month. And that is my current trying to get it to 1,000 stitches. I am doing 100 stitches on it every single day. I think I did its first like 300 stitches right at the beginning of the month, and then put it away. And I was like, I gotta bring it back out because it needs 1,000, and I'm 700 stitches away from that. So I need to make a dent into it. And now I'm only 500 stitches away from it. And then last but not least, where are you at? I know you're in here because I just worked on you. Where did I put you? Oh, I missed one of my, actually. Dang it. Oh gosh. Oh. Okay, well, you don't want to close. I pulled out All You Need Is Love, ... and a good cup of coffee. And this has hit its 1,000, which is exciting. It needed 300 stitches because it was at 700. So I did those 300 stitches over the course of 2 days, which is what, 150, I think my husband's home, 150 stitches per day. So yeah, that's exciting. But it is at its, he's home. It is at its 1,000. And isn't it beautiful? This has been fun to work on. But with all the back stitching, this is also kind of a nice project to only do 100 stitches on it because of the back stitching. So I'm excited with the progress I have made. But to wrap that up, so 6 whips, I stitched 26 out of the 31 days. I had a finish, and technically I had a new start as well, but I did a total of 4,776 stitches in the month of October. But technically I did 4,780 stitches because I have 4 itty bitty stitches on my new start. And this is Cathedral Woods Goddess. I'm really, really excited because she's beautiful. And this is for me. This is going to be for me. I'm going to frame it and put it on my wall, but this is for me. The fabric I chose, it is not picking up. It is actually much more like pinky salmon melon color with some brown. It just looks tan. That's not it at all. It's an unknown colorway from Bestitch Me in 36 count linen. But my husband's home, so I'm actually going to pause here and I will pick up filming a different time because I'm going to go hang out with my family. But I will talk to y'all very, very soon. Okay, so completely different day, but we are continuing. I still get a little self-conscious when my husband comes home. I do a lot of my recording when I'm home alone. So I still get really self-conscious when he's home and I'm trying to film. But he came home, they were talking in the kitchen anyways, and I was like, I'm just going to end it. I'll pick up filming tomorrow. It's my day off. So here we are. I'm going to apologize. So I have my phone with me and the ringer is on because one of my best friends is currently in the hospital giving birth to my baby boy nephew. So, it's still really early. She is being induced today, so we're a couple hours in, but she did just text me a little bit ago, kind of asked me some questions about my schedule this afternoon, and so I'm trying to make sure that I am available in case she needs me at the hospital or the birthing center, she already has a child, she's got a 2-year-old, if I need to go get him for her, or if, if her fiance or husband, he might as well be her husband, her fiance, if he also needs something and doesn't want to leave or can't leave kind of thing. So I've made myself available for them in between my normal things. So if that happens, I will be going because this doesn't happen every day and it's very exciting. So let's talk about, I talked about what happened in September and October. I want to talk about my November plans and then life stuff. But I didn't get to show you. That was a weird sound. Was that my phone? No, I heard a weird sound. Okay, so this is Holiday Truck Ornaments. This is the Santa one. So it says Santa's at the top. But it's like apostrophe S, like it belongs to Santa. This is the only one that's kind of weird to me. Like all the rest of them said like joy, peace, Mary, but this one says Santa's. But this is where I am. This is 500 stitches. There we go. It's coming along. This one definitely has to become like a daily 100. It's just a lot. It's a lot of color changes. Working on the plastic canvas can be rough on my fingers. So I'm happy to do just like 100 stitches on this and call it a day. We won't see this again until Thanksgiving week. So let's talk about my Thanksgiving plans. I will talk about that. My November plans. I've got my handy dandy planner here. So let's look at November's dashboard. Okay, I've got it all filled out. I've already got kind of what my plans are for this week. And then on my calendar, here's my calendar. Like here's the dashboard, the monthly view. I do have a plan for what week I want to work on what whip. because of this, what's going on here. I don't fill out any personal stuff in this planner. I do all of that in my personal planner, in my daily planner, but I will make notes like in this box of really important things that may affect my stitching. I will write down and I will keep track of there, just so if I look back later, I don't go, what was going on that week? I can take a look and be like, that's what was going on. So, for example, I have that for week 1, this first week of November, I am going to stitch on my Cathedral Woods Goddess. I'm going to go ahead and start working on her. Try and get her first 400 stitches in this week, which is 100 stitches a day, which is doable. And so that is my plan. I really want to give them each 100 stitches each day. So she just texted me. I was reading that. We're good. I don't have to leave right now. Okay. So, distracted. I will give those each 100 stitches each day, and then after I've hit the 100 on that, I'm going to pull Letters from Hogwarts back out and work on that in my free time because I really want to finish it. It's looking like it's not going to get finished this year, but by golly, I'm going to do my hardest to finish it by the end of this year. If not, definitely the beginning of next year, because I want to finish it and I want to give it to my sister and my niece, before her birthday or on her birthday kind of thing. It's only taken me a couple of years to do this, right? So Cathedral Woods Goddess is week 1. Get her 400 stitches because that is my goal. I want to do a total of 2,000 stitches on the 5 pieces that we've picked for our categories. Now, I've been right in that 4,000 plus mark, 4,500 stitches plus the last couple months, which is really exciting, which is why I decided to ump it, because I'm capable of doubling what I had been doing, right? I'd only been doing about 1,500 for my category pieces. So I decided to up it up a little bit. So half of my stitches will come from these categories is the plan. And that makes 400 stitches because there's 5. So that's the goal. So by the end of this month, this baby should be at 800 stitches just from doing the categories my friends picked, right? Ideally, it'll get to its 1,000. So, week 1, I'm doing, for Stitcher's Choice, I am doing Cathedral Woods Goddess. For week 2, which is the 7th, I do Monday starts in my Stitchy Planner. The 7th through the 13th is going to be my Oldest Whip for the category Struggle Bus. It's my Oldest Whip for a reason. Struggle Bus, which is my Read Now, because I have not touched it in months. And it's not that far from a finish. I've hit that like block stitching area of like the book cover. And I know I could knock it out if I just worked on it. So 400 stitches on that. Aiming for a finish on that by the end of the year. I'm not going to limit myself to a finish on it by this month. I'm only going to pull that out as a finish or like an attempt to finish it if everything else gets 1,000 stitches. Then I'm going to pull things out that are closest to a finish and then try and finish them before the new year. So that's the goal going forward, is give category pieces 100 stitches every day. Once they've hit their 100, move on to something that still needs 1,000, right? Or Letters from Hogwarts, because I really want to get that done. And then whatever needs 1,000 stitches, I'm jumbled. Okay, let's just go out. Let me outline my plan, and then I will do like ifs and buts kind of things, like what happens if things go wonky. Week 1, Cathedral Woods Goddess. Week 2, Read Now, which is my Oldest Whip for Struggle Bus. For week 3, Monday the 14th through Sunday the 20th, for the category pattern type paper, Cathedral Woods Goddess, because I have it as a paper pattern. Week 4, Monday the 21st through Sunday the 27th, I'm doing my holiday truck ornaments. Now, I picked that for that week because that is Thanksgiving week, and we are going to be traveling. We're not going very far, and we're only going to be gone Wednesday and Thursday. We have to come home. We'll leave Wednesday early afternoon, like noon kind of thing. And then we'll have to come home Thursday evening because my husband has to work on Black Friday. We're only going a couple hours away. But I wanted something that I could work on in the car. And if it's a big project, that's really hard to do versus holiday truck ornaments. It's small, it fits in my hand, it fits in my bag, and that bag travels really, really easily. So that's why I decided, instead of like getting it knocked out at the beginning of the month, I'm going to save it for that week while we're traveling. And then I won't feel guilty if like I don't really work on it Thanksgiving Day, or it gets worked on a lot the other days of the week, because I know when I'm in that like 3.5 hour car ride, I will be working on it. At least for sure Wednesday when I have daylight. I'm not so sure about Thursday because it'll be nighttime. Well, we have to see. We'll play it by ear. And that is for the category holiday. And then the last category is full coverage, which is not applicable to me because I don't have any full coverage pieces. And so in that case, you know, I'm using like my focus piece, my fighter piece. It kind of steps in when I've got nothing else, right? Which is Letters from Hogwarts. And that's just going to be that last week. So I'm already going to be working on it, but that is like the last, like that's the goal for that piece. If for whatever reason everything else goes to shit, I've got that on the schedule. It'll more than likely be done this first week into next week because of my plans to stitch on it in the evenings. Now, I got kind of rambly, and what's going on is because if I only have 400 stitches and I'm giving each piece 100 stitches each night, it's only going to take me 4 days, right? Theoretically, 4 days to work on something, to have it meet its goal. So there are 3 other days in the week. What do I do then? Well, you know, for example, I didn't stitch Halloween, which was Monday, because we were trick-or-treating and I was exhausted afterwards. And I didn't stitch anything yesterday because I was getting everything set up. I was making all my plans. I started recording and I just didn't get to it. And then I wanted to hang out with my husband. I wanted to snuggle him on the couch. So I did. I will stitch tonight, assuming that nothing happens with baby and she needs me, or I will bring a piece to the hospital where I am waiting, kind of thing. And stuff like that. Like, I don't want to narrow myself down too much. So I do have this as a bare bones, like worst comes to worst, you work on this piece during this week. Otherwise, I'm going to move them around and give myself that leeway of, okay, I did a 400 stitches on Cathedral Woods Goddess. I'll go ahead and start doing the 400 stitches for Read Now. And just that way, every night I'm having a project that has to hit its 100 kind of thing. And it just keeps moving and grooving. And I'm doing it this way because I want everything to touch its 1,000 stitches. But also, I really want finishes. I really want to get these things finished and move them on and open up my Q-snaps and my things for new projects, right? I'm really intending to go into 2023 as the year for me. 23 Stitch for Me is kind of like my motto, right? I spend a lot of my stitchy time making gifts for other people, and I need to make some stuff for me as well. My walls are bare. My husband has been asking when I'm gonna frame something and put it up on our wall, and I need to do that, you know? So that's my mindset. And I've got a couple things where I'm like, I really want to start it. It's not that I'm doing like no new starts next year or anything like that, but it's definitely going to be like earn your start. Where like, I really need to finish something before I start something new. I don't want to just start things willy-nilly just because I find a cool pattern and it hits me. Like, I want to have a purpose for it. I want to have earned that start. So, there are a couple things though that I do want to start before this year ends to bring into 2023 with me. Cathedral Woods Goddess was one of those, which is why I started it. And I'm excited about that. You know, I've got fabric, I've got patterns, I have things that are just sitting, and I don't want them to just sit anymore. I want them to come out and play. I've got plans. I have such a big plan for my stairwell, right? That I would like to see happen. I had this giant plan when we moved into the house 2 years ago to stitch pieces that I would interchange that go up my stairwell based on the seasons. Like I wanted to do like the witches, Nor Corbett's witches, to go up my stairwell for like Halloween. I also really want to do those beautiful reindeer and Santa's sleigh for Christmas and have those go up my stairwell. That would be amazing. My husband is incredibly on board with those ideas of like having those interchangeable pieces on our walls for different seasons and things. And that like, I like the idea too that if our friends come over or family comes over to visit, they're not really gonna know what's gonna be up on display in my house, right? I love that idea. That also means I would need essentially like 8 to 10 cohesive pieces to switch out on my staircase, and then have a way to store them when they're not being hung. So 23, year for me, stitching for me. That's my motto. I might make that a hashtag for myself. 2023, stitching for me. That's the goal. That's the plan, Sam. Bop, bop, bop. To the top. What is wrong with me? Sorry, I'm distracted. So, that's November. That's my stitchy plans. I'm all done. So if you were just here for stitchy stuff, I don't blame you. I'll see you later. I'll see you next time. I'm going to try and start recording more frequently as things are happening and changing, because I'm really excited about all the progress that I'm going to be making. But now it's time for personal stuff. So September and October were busy. We had some challenges. We had some big successes. We had some exciting things. I don't want to say we had too many like disappointments, but we did have some challenges. And let's address that. So back in September, I have to like pull up my calendar, right? What happened in September? So, gosh, okay, beginning of September, my parents came to visit. I feel like I mentioned this, but I don't think I went into much detail. I do not have the best relationship with my mother. I am in no way, shape, or form, like, concerned that she will ever see this or watch this, because my mother does not even know how to, like, access YouTube. She does not know that I record videos, that I have a channel, or anything like that. I'm really not concerned about this. But I did not have the best relationship with my mother growing up. And I still don't to this day. Things are very tense between us. Things are really just tense. Tense is a great word. And without really going into too much detail about my life and what happened back then, essentially, my mother made some really bad choices when my sister and I were young, and she put us in situations that were not good. We were not always safe, and I hold a lot of anger and resentment towards my mother for putting my sister and I in those situations and not protecting us. I have spent a lot of time in therapy dealing with the repercussions of my childhood. And like I said, this is not the platform or the place where I really want to delve into that, but for context, and so you understand, I have been diagnosed as an adult with post-traumatic stress disorder because of my childhood. And that's hard. That is very hard to deal with. I have a lot of like safety triggers and physical triggers of things that make me very, very anxious. I have struggled with panic attacks and generalized anxiety disorders for a really long time. I was diagnosed at beginnings with like just severe depression or generalized anxiety disorder. And it wasn't until like I really sought a therapist like here, because those diagnoses didn't always fit. Like, yes, I'm anxious, and yes, I get depressed sometimes, but it wasn't until I sat down and actually met with a therapist and everything that they went, no, actually you have PTSD. And that was an eye-opener for me. I had never even considered that as an option for me, right? But it's something I deal with, and I am happy to say, like, I am in therapy. I still am in therapy, and it has helped dramatically. I also utilize psychiatry services, and so I do take medication. I am prescribed an antidepressant and an anti-anxiety that helps manage those feelings and those symptoms as well, which is why I'm such a huge proponent for mental health advocacy and services being accessible and available to everyone. All of this to say, yes, things are tense and things are difficult. And she is my mother. She asked to come visit. I discussed things with my therapist. Things had been going really well, considering, between my mom and I. And so I said yes. They came to visit, and I feel like for the most part the visit was okay. We had a few hiccups. We had some moments where I started to experience some symptoms and some issues. But my husband is my rock. He is so stable and supportive that having him obviously here was fantastic. But it was difficult. So things. Right? So that happened at the beginning of the month. Let's move on. I'm done talking about my mother. She was here. It went okay for the most part. It was tense. I didn't like her behavior. I was not sad when they left. Let's leave it there. Right? So, beginning of the month. Then, what else happened in September? I feel like my son was doing soccer. He was doing soccer, so soccer practices were every Tuesday evening, and then he had games on Sundays, like Sunday morning, early afternoon. So we were really busy with going to soccer practices. Oof. And it got cold, right? And then what else happened at the end of September? Some of my work thing, we were doing new things at work. It was my father-in-law's birthday. We took a trip to celebrate my father-in-law's birthday. So we are from Indiana. That is not where we live currently, but we traveled the 6 hours to Indianapolis, which is the capital of Indiana, and we met up with my in-laws, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my sister-in-law, and her husband, and we all got together, and because for my father-in-law's birthday, we all chipped in and we bought tickets to go see a football game in Indianapolis. My father-in-law's team is the Kansas City Chiefs, and they were playing the Indianapolis Colts at Indiana, and we were all able to get that time off and go, so we did, and it was awesome. We had a really, really good time. I love the fact that the Indianapolis Stadium had sensory bags for people, myself included, who struggle with loud sounds, crowds of people, being stuck in a space for long periods of time and not being able to get up and move around, those kinds of things. And so included, it had some fidget toys. It had a weighted blanket, like a small weighted pad that sat on my lap, and noise canceling headphones. And that was fantastic because we got there and I immediately started to feel very, very panicky. And so I checked one of the bags out, immediately put the headphones on, sat with the weighted blanket on my lap, and it was amazing. I know for a fact I would not have been able to enjoy that football game without the aid of those things, because my anxiety would have been through the roof and I would have had some really severe symptoms and reactions to all the noise and the sound and the crowd and everything like that. But having those aids made it so that I could stay with my family and have a fantastic time. And we did. We stayed overnight there in Indianapolis. We visited my sister and my niece, and they were adorable. We had dinner with them the night we were there. It was great. And we came home, and then of course at the end of the month I had my wisdom teeth removed. I had all 4 of my wisdom teeth removed at once, and it was a trip, let me tell you. So my aunt and uncle came, and they stayed with us for those couple days to help with getting Caden to and from school, so that Bryant didn't have to take a bunch of time off work. So that way someone could get me to and from the dentist office, because you can't drive after that, because I was put under, light general anesthesia. So they did knock me out. They went in, they pulled my teeth out really quick. It was not that long. My husband had taken the day off. My aunt and uncle took me to the dentist office because it was first thing in the morning. He took my son to school, came home, had breakfast, and had just finished his breakfast when my aunt and uncle called and told him that I was out of surgery and on my way home. So he didn't even make it to the dentist office, right? It went well. I had some complications for the ones on my bottom that they were concerned about. So that was the main reason for why they were removed. They really didn't have any concerns over my top ones. Those came out really easy. There was a weird pocket around this left one. And then this one had grown, the root had grown really far down, and they were just concerned about how close it was to the bottom of my jaw. So they went in, they pulled them out. I was really puffy. I was really swollen. I was really numb. They told us that some people cry and some people laugh, and that I was the laughing kind. And I do faintly recall, immediately upon being woken up, that they were like, all right, honey, we got to get you into the wheelchair. And me just sitting there giggling in this wheelchair, right? I recall that it was also very difficult for me to get into the wheelchair because one of my legs, was still went numb. And I was like, I can't move it. It's not happening. In, giant gauze-filled mouth, numb speak. I didn't say anything silly. I really didn't do anything weird. My husband said I giggled a lot. And he was like, it was a little bit unnerving because you'd be silent and you would just be staring in front of you, and then all of a sudden you would just start giggling. So obviously I was probably thinking something to myself that I thought was hilarious. I do remember that I constantly kept looking at my husband and telling him that he was very handsome. Just very handsome. So handsome. And that I tried to sing to him the Weeknd song. What's it called? But the one where it's the I can't feel my face. So apparently I kept trying to sing that, the I can't feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it. And then I would tell him how handsome he is, and he would just be like, thank you, honey. Yes, thank you. So I mean, hey, at least we know. I think my husband's attractive. But it was fine. It did hurt a lot. I was in a lot of pain. It was difficult to eat. And I remember being very hungry and just wanting to eat and not being able to. And that was really sad. Lots of soup. And I made smoothies. No straws, but and then my aunt was amazing with my pain management and with helping me out. I mean, she was a mother and she raised 2 children and then helped raise my sister and I as well. So there were definitely times when she knew what I needed before I even knew what I needed, and was just on it and amazing. That's gonna make me emotional. Because my aunt is a fantastic woman and is an amazing woman, and I am incredibly grateful that she was able to come and take care of me, because I couldn't take care of myself, and Bryant was taking care of Caden, right? So, I felt helpless. I did nothing, essentially. I sat around a lot. I don't even think I really read. I think I tried to read a couple times, but I couldn't concentrate. The pain medication they give you is no joke, okay? I was on like prescription strength ibuprofen and hydrocodone for only a little bit. And that heavier pain medication makes you very sleepy. And so I really only tried to take it if the pain was really, really bad, or I did take it at bedtime when I knew that it would be hard for me to sleep. Especially because I'm a stomach sleeper. I don't fall asleep on my back. Sometimes I will fall asleep on my sides, but I am 99% of the time, I am a tummy sleeper. I sleep on my stomach, which means I sleep with my face like this, right? So I would take the pill before bed, let it kick in, because I knew I would end up sleeping or falling asleep on my face, and I didn't want to be in a lot of pain the next morning. Still consistently would wake up in pain, right? I couldn't drive when I was on some of those pills, so I had to take additional days off work, but I recovered. I had a couple bone shard issues, but recovered. All is well. I'm good now. I use a straw, eat my normal food, right? My only complaint currently is that on this side, you just saw me kind of mess with it. This side. Part of how my gum currently is, there's still kind of a little bit of a pocket. So it's completely healed over, right? But there's still just kind of this like little pocket back there. And sometimes food does get stuck there and it's gross. So I have to like make sure I really rinse out my mouth, and I'm doing a really good job cleaning my feet, my face, and my teeth and all of that fun stuff. So that was the end of September into October. Then October was busy. So October was when a lot of big things happened. So Caden is now 10. What? I have a 10-year-old. Caden's birthday is in the middle of October. So we threw him a party here at our house. We rented like a big bouncy house with a slide and set it up in our backyard because we have a really nice sized backyard that's for the most part flat. Set that up, invited some of his classmates over, some of our friends we made when we first moved here, and he had a really good time. People showed up, we did gifts. He wanted a lemon cake, so I baked him a lemon poppy seed cake, which the other kids were not a fan of. And luckily I have a really sweet neighbor, and she saw that we were throwing a party, and she baked a bunch of cupcakes, like chocolate cupcakes, and brought those over. So when the kids didn't really care for the lemon cake, we had those cupcakes, and that was a hit, and then we weren't stuck with a bunch of cupcakes. But the adults liked the lemon cake, and Caden liked the lemon cake, and that's really all that matters to me, is that I made the cake that my son wanted. Don't really care. I had some of the kids were like, Miss Emily, I don't really like your cake, and I was like, that's okay. I didn't make it for you. I made it for Caden, and he does like my cake. But thank you for trying it, the whole spiel. But it was great. He had a great time, and it was a lot of fun. My husband's parents were able to come and stay with us. And then about 2 weeks later was a very busy week for us, or at least an important week. So soccer has ended. We had kind of a brief reprieve before we started a new sport. Caden has been wanting to do pickleball. He has done a couple lessons with his grandparents in their hometown, our hometown in Indiana, and he really, really liked it. And then we saw that a pickleball clinic was opening here for 10-year-olds and up, and we were like, well, let's do it. He'll be 10 at the start of the clinic, because it was like the week or two after his birthday. So he's 10, he can officially start it. And that was his birthday gift from his grandparents. So pickleball started that week. Monday, the 24th, was an in-service day. He didn't have school that day because the teachers had like a staff day, right? I had to work. I couldn't take that day off work. But also my husband was gone that week. He had to go. He actually was in Denver for a manager's like training class. So that week was going to be really tense, right? Because Caden didn't have school, I couldn't get off work, and my husband was going to be gone for 4 days. He left Monday morning and came home Thursday evening. And I was a little stressed out because I didn't know what to do with my son. And also, normally on Thursdays, I work Thursday evenings. I work noon to 5 on Thursdays, which would theoretically mean that I had no one to pick Caden up from school and he would have been home alone. And we don't do that. So we had to maneuver some things around, right? I was able to switch my schedule at work, so that wasn't a big deal. So I worked Thursday morning. And then Brian's mother, who is a saint, offered to come up and stay basically just the night with us so that I didn't have to take a day. I didn't have to take a personal day because I didn't have a babysitter for Caden, which was amazing. She came Sunday night before Bryant left. We hung out. We had a family dinner. We played some games. We played Uno Dare, which is a lot of fun. This is an actual game. You play Uno, but then certain cards are Dare cards, and they're really funny. I do highly recommend this game. We have a blast playing this game with Caden to Bryant's parents. It was great. And then, Bryant left Monday morning. I went to school, I went to work. Caden hung out with Nana, and they did a gingerbread, haunted house, which I didn't even know that was a thing, and it was great, right? Why was my husband there? Because this is not a normal work trip. This is not a normal business trip. He was going to a managerial training class. Now, my husband is already a manager at his job. He is a full manager at his job. He has an assistant beneath him. He is in charge of a store. This is because they are considering him for promotion for a regional manager position. So the way their store hierarchy is, you've got just a regular salesperson, right? Salesperson, assistant, key holder, assistant, manager, and then you have a regional manager, and then you get into the higher positions, and they're called directors of different things, right? A regional manager overlooks multiple stores instead of being in one store as a single store manager. My husband is currently a single store manager. He has a store that he manages. If he got promoted to regional, he would then be in charge of, he would be the boss to the managers of multiple stores, and he would have to travel to those different stores, check in, make sure everything is good, right? So bigger responsibility, more stores under his belt, but it takes him out of being in one store all the time, and he isn't directly in sales anymore. Right now, he works in a store every day, and he still is he also is a salesperson. That is still part of his job, is being a salesperson on top of managerial duties. Being a regional, he wouldn't be a salesperson because he wouldn't be in one store every single day. And this is a big deal. Managerial, regional positions do not open up very often. But someone higher up, a director, is retiring, and so a director is opening. They're promoting a regional to a director. 2 people are being promoted. They're opening up different regions. So they've got right now 2 regional positions open and a 3rd one coming in the future kind of thing. So he went to the training for this position. The owner of the company called and told him he was, they wanted him there. They were going to fly him out and do this regional training, which is really, really exciting. So he was gone for that week, 4 days, and then he came home, and then we had to have a big heart-to-heart, right? Because this is a big thing. And it would mean that a lot would change for us. Because he would travel. He would be traveling just about every week. He would be traveling every week. And he would be gone for 2 to 3 days every single week. He would be gone to visit the other stores. And so he would be away from us for a couple nights. And for the most part, he could drive to them. They're only a few hours drive away, but he wouldn't necessarily, but that doesn't mean he would come home every night. He would still have to stay overnight in a hotel and then come home. So that's a challenge. That's a big challenge because he would be away from Caden and I. And more responsibility, but that also means he would also be home, because he wouldn't, when he is home, he isn't in a store. He would be working from home, so he would need an office space, with a door, do not disturb while daddy's working kind of thing. And it will completely change how we do things, right? So it's a big deal. And we had to have this really big heart to heart about, is this something that we think we can do? Is this something that we want to do? Is this even possible and feasible for our family? Because on top of that, we had been considering potentially growing our family. And right now, that is off the table. So, and I'm okay with that. Like, I don't want you to think I'm being sad or that I'm upset or anything like that, because I'm not. I was really, really scared. I was really scared at first, because that's asking for a lot, right? You are asking for me to be okay with being like a single parent every week for a couple days every week. And there's no way I could do that with a baby. There's really not. Oh, no, thank you. But with Caden being 10, he's still a child. He still has to be taken care of and provided for and everything like that. But he's now older, where he can understand more and he can help out with the chores, and he does do chores. So it's not like I would be with like a little bitty kid that really needs both his parents or a lot of time and attention kind of thing. And so right now it does feel very doable for us. All this to say, we sat down and we talked and we agreed that yes, we're gonna go for it. He has put his name into the hat for consideration for a regional position. We should hear back by next Monday or Tuesday if he is in the running. So they have a pool of candidates. He has said, yes, I would still like to be considered. So they're going to continue to narrow it down. And then we'll hear by Monday or Tuesday if he is for sure in the running. And then they will come here and they will do like an in-person interview with him. But then also like with me, they will like take us out to dinner. They will sit down with us. We will talk everything out, ask questions, them ask me questions or us questions. I can ask them questions, voice concerns, basically everything, get it all out on the table. His company is incredibly involved. And I do say they do an excellent job of making sure that everyone involved in this is on board, because they know that their employees have lives and families, and if their family is not on board, then it's not gonna work. If the wife at home or the husband at home is not comfortable with them being gone, it's not gonna work out. And they've had issues in the past with that happening. So you have to make sure that you are on board and that this is something you think you can do. And we had a lot of back and forth about it, where I voiced a lot of my concerns about him being gone. And then we talked some more, and I was like, but at the same time, I think we can do it. I really do. He's had this job for Caden's entire life. He's always worked long hours. There have always been days where it's just me and Caden. And the only difference now would be that Ryan just wouldn't come home at night versus now. So I think it's possible. Right now his schedule on certain days of the week is Caden gets up and goes to school. His dad goes to work, and my husband doesn't come home until Caden's already in bed. So it's not necessarily that a whole lot would change for Caden, other than just, he would wake up and dad still wouldn't be there. Like, it's really, the only difference is that he just physically wouldn't be home. But we make it work, and we've made it work. And there's still the fact that he'd only be gone 2 to 3 days each week, and there's still, that's 4 to 5 days where he's home. He will still always have 2 days off, and he would still always have 1 to 2 days of working from home. And so it just depends on the rest of the time Like, what if there's an issue where he needs to be gone longer, or if there's really not an issue where he needs to be gone that long. So I'll say I'm excited, I'm scared, and I'm sharing this all because things are going to start happening, and I want to take you along with me, because this is part of what I do. And if things start changing, I don't want anyone to be confused or surprised if I am in a different place or if I don't upload for a while, because once the ball gets moving, it's gonna get moving. And I know that there's like, oh, it's only a possibility. Correct. But he has been considered in the running before, and we have made it all the way through the interview process previously, and they just unfortunately picked someone else. This time around, it feels different. It feels more like all of this has just been a preliminary, like you just do it so that we have it on file that we've done it kind of thing. Like this time it really feels like this is it. This is the time for the promotion. So it's exciting and it's scary, but I think we'll get a phone call Monday or Tuesday, and they're going to tell him that they're going to come in and interview us, and then we'll have like a dinner. And then after that, no matter what, we will have to move, which is, that part is like the thing that bums me the most, because I love this house, right? This is my house. We bought this house brand new. It had just been built. We have painted. We picked out the counters and the hardware, and we have put so much into this. We put in the back patio, and we built a pergola, and we put in the fence, and we adopted Kennedy in this house. We're a mile walk from my son's school in this house. That's going to be hard, because this has been my house. This house has been my house, and I know I'm going to have to give this up. And that's going to be really hard, and that's going to be really sad, because I love this house. But this house just does not work for him to have what he needs work-wise. This is our office space, and as you can tell, it is completely open. That leads directly into our living room. There's no door there. That's the stairwell to our upstairs. This right here is literally my front door. This won't work. We have a giant like his and her setup. So like we share one massive desk. His computer is right here next to me. That's Caden's computer. So like it wouldn't work, because this isn't private enough. He wouldn't be able to close a door and have that privacy and the ability to focus, especially if his day off coincides with my day off. Like it's just not going to work. He needs to be able to distance himself from me during those working hours, because the last thing I want is to distract him from his job. Right. So yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot happening. And so they're definitely, and even if it's just we move from this house to a different house, that is honestly the bare minimum. The most is that we could entirely move not just cities, states. And that's also crazy to me. I've done this with him a couple times. I'm from Indiana. When we originally moved in together, we were in Illinois. He got promoted when we lived in Illinois, and we moved to Pennsylvania. That was a massive move. And then, 13 hours from home. And then we got promoted again from Pennsylvania to here. And so we packed up and moved all the way back cross country to the Midwest, back to the Midwest here in Iowa. And that was an even longer move, right? That was more like 15 to 17, maybe even 18 hours, because we drove. And it's hard to say, because I don't know. And we've been told very little, but there have been whispers, obviously, and there is currently a position that is open in Texas. Hey, Sammy. But Texas is huge, and I know that. I don't know where in Texas. And the other, we've been told that a position has been hinted that it could be open in Missouri, which is not too bad because that's still Midwest and that's not too far from us as well. Texas would be a really big move. Not gonna lie. That would be a really big move for us. And I'm not sure how that would go. You have to also remember, we have 3 animals. We have 2 dogs and a cat that we are gonna have to also move. Not just a kid. So no matter what, it could be anything from just we have to buy a different house here for a little while, or it could be that they're like, hey, actually, we want you to be in a different state. So it's a lot. It's a lot. But I didn't want to be in the dark because once his company makes a decision, they move on it. Like, it gets going. So we would have time, obviously. We would have time to, like, sell the house and everything like that. But then, like, it'll, like, if everything goes according to plan, we interview, they say, you've got the position, we need you X, Y, or Z place, we then have to start doing that. The house will go on the market, we'll start packing up, we'll eventually, like, we will find another house to move in. There's no way we can rent with what we have. We have to buy another home, buy another house, and then physically move. And it's going to be quick. And I want to be excited, and I am excited. And I want to take you with me. So hopefully you'll stay here for my journey, and it won't be incredibly crazy, but that's what's happening. And I will keep you guys all updated as things happen and as things move. But I truly feel, and I'm asking, send me good thoughts, send me whatever you feel comfortable doing. If that's just good thoughts, if that's prayers, if that's good vibes, well wishes, send them my way. If you don't mind. I think we could use it, but at the same time, I feel really good. I do. I feel really excited about the future, and I really think that 2023 is going to be, it's going to be a big year. It's going to be a big year. Like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really fucking hard. Sorry. I don't think I've ever really cussed before. It's going to be hard, right? It's going to be really, really hard. But I also think it's going to be really exciting. I think we have a lot to look forward to and a lot of good things coming our way, and I'm really excited. But I'm also sharing this with you before I go because I need somewhere to share, because we haven't told our family yet, and we're not going to tell our family until we actually know what's going on, because we don't want anyone to get their hopes up. We don't want anyone to be disappointed. I personally don't want anyone bugging us and asking, do we know anything? Have we heard anything? But I can share with you because my family doesn't know that I do this, and I need to be able to tell someone. I need to be able to talk about it. And that's you guys. You're your second family. I really, really cherish this little community that we have and the FlossTube community as a whole. But my little channel community is very special to me. And so I'm taking you with me. I'm taking you along for the ride. So, gosh, that's it. I've rambled on way too long. But this video is going to be so long. I'm so sorry. Put me on 2x speed, as I say at the end. But, wish me luck. I'm excited. And I'm excited you're all here. So, I'm going to go. I'm going to go stitch and eat some lunch before I have to go pick up Caden and go to the hospital and check on Mama and baby boy's progress. So I will talk to you all hopefully really soon. I want to start making more videos again. So I'll talk to you all very, very soon. In the meantime, happy stitching, happy reading, happy listening, happy watching, I said stitching. What am I missing? Singing? No. Happy doing whatever it is that makes you happy. Until then, be easy with your hearts.